John, I hope that sometime during our lesson, you can look up the date for our February activity. It will probably be based around indexing, and have that ready for us so I can announce it at the end, because I don't have it close to my computer here. I see a couple of you that I don't recognize. I'm pleased to see you. Thanks for coming. First, I think I want to start off tonight by showing you my new sweater. My husband just said, "You're bragging." I am. Some of you have heard a little bit of this story before. A couple of years ago, I went for the first time on Memorial Day to the cemetery in Parowan, Utah, to see if I could find the cemetery stone of my ancestor, Niels Otto Mortensen. And while we were on that outing, we went and got an ice cream cone in a little cafe. And in the cafe, on the wall, was a framed newspaper article about my ancestor, Niels Otto Mortensen, and his son, telling about how they had imported sheep into the Parowan area. And by this time, which was about 100 years ago that the newspaper article was printed, the Rambouillet sheep that they had imported, and which farmers and sheepmen throughout that area of southern Utah had started to grow, had grown into a multi-million export business for southern Utah. Now, 100 years ago, a multi-million-dollar export business was very significant. And this was for the Rambouillet sheep and the wool that from the Rambouillet sheep that they had imported. So I began to be very interested in Rambouillet wool. And so at my husband's request, at my request, my husband gave me for Christmas some Rambouillet yarn. And so I knitted this sweater. And so here is my sweater knit from Rambouillet yarn. I don't know if it came from Wyoming. I don't know if the sheep were related to the ones that my ancestors imported or not. But I just was so curious about it. I just had to knit a sweater out of Rambouillet yarn, and I have a second one started. At first, when I first started looking for them on the internet, I didn't have much success in finding Rambouillet yarn. And now I find out more about it every other day or so. So now I've got some more yarn I want to buy. But meanwhile, I'm going to finish the other one I have started. So now now I've done my bragging for the day. Our topic tonight is how to search successfully in either Ancestry and or FamilySearch. And Helen, if John doesn't come up with this calendar, you're the one to ask. At the end of my lesson, would you please, if John hasn't already found it, be prepared to tell us what our scheduled February activity, on which Saturday morning it's going to be in February, so that people can write it on their calendar. So now we're going to talk a little bit about searching on FamilySearch and Ancestry. There are some basic things. Well, first of all, we search in records, trying to find records of some kind that tell about our ancestors or our people in our family that we're curious about. There are three main things that we need to know about to search. We need to know their name, where they were, when they were there, and what kind of an activity led them to be listed in a record. And so that's the basic information we need to know. We also always start with what we already know and then move backwards to what we don't know yet. So we always work from the known to the unknown. So I'm going to turn on my screen to FamilySearch. Oh, I already have two chats. Let's go ahead and read them before we get started. Okay. This is a different computer. And so with my different computer, my arrow is lighter. It used to be brighter than this or darker than this so that it was easier for you to follow. I hope that you'll be able to follow it anyway tonight. FamilySearch and Ancestry are divided into two main parts. Well, let's say 2 parts for FamilySearch and 3 parts for Ancestry. One of the parts is the family tree. That is where family group sheets and pedigree charts are recorded. And it's a global tree on FamilySearch. And on Ancestry, each person submits their own and has the option to keep theirs separate or public, private or public. But their information is never mixed with anybody else's. On FamilySearch, it's a global tree, which means everybody's is mixed together. And as I've said before, that is the strength and the weakness of FamilySearch and the strength and the weakness of Ancestry. The other part of FamilySearch and Ancestry is the searching part. And that is how we access records, either records that the church has accumulated or records that Ancestry has accumulated. And even though we kind of think, oh, Ancestry is like FamilySearch and FamilySearch is like Ancestry, it is a very small percent. The last time I heard a figure quoted, it was 10% of the records that Ancestry has are the same as the records that FamilySearch has. And those are probably the records that we use most often. And I can't help but think that there's more overlap than 10%. But really, Ancestry has a lot of records that FamilySearch doesn't have. And FamilySearch has a lot of records that Ancestry doesn't have. But in each case, we access those records that they have through the search button. Now, Ancestry, in addition to those, if you look on Ancestry, they have the trees and the search button, but they also have DNA. And if you have had your DNA tested by Ancestry, that's the button that you would use. FamilySearch is free to anybody in the world that wants to use it responsibly. Ancestry is a paid subscription. You have to pay to use Ancestry unless for some reason you qualify for a free subscription. And every member of the LDS Church qualifies for a free subscription. And so those of us that are members of the LDS Church can move back and forth easily between the two. So first tonight, I'm going to talk about searching on FamilySearch. Now, when you click on the FamilySearch search button, and you're given all of these different images to search, you want to go to records. So when you go to this screen, you'll notice it has 3 parts. And it has 3 parts because there's 3 different ways to find records on FamilySearch. There's the historical records, which is this part. There's records by choosing what collection they're in, which is in this part. And then they're searching by places. And so you search this part. So I wanted to do a little activity to show what we might find if we look in these 3 methods of searching. So because John was almost the first one here, I asked him to tell me his father's name, where his dad was born, and when he was born. So let's assume that we want to look for his dad in the 1940 census. So let's fill out this historical records template. This little form we're filling out is called a template. And so we have J, Edwin.
No, just John.
Oh, that's a John.
He's gonna be in the records as John. That's why I'm John.
And is it Edwin for his middle name?
Yes.
Okay. And we don't know where he lived in 1940, but we do know when he was born and where he was born. So we're going to put in Brigham City. Is Brigham City in Cache County?
Box Elder County.
Oh, Brigham
City.
Box Elder,
Box Elder County.
Utah. And he was born in 1906.
Actually, 1908.
Okay. Now, if I just do a global search and click search, I am going to come up with 9,276 records. Well, I don't want to look at 9,276 records. So I am going to add more information. And especially since I know I'm looking I want to find him in the census. So I am going to go to type of record and I'm going to choose census. And now I'll search and we'll see how many records I get. Now I only get 1,002 records. Well, that is going to be a lot easier. But I think I could go through these pretty quickly and look for that 1940 census and see that's the very top entry. I presume that your mother's name is Elizabeth Mon Baird.
Yep.
Baird would not be her maiden name. It would be her name as recorded in the census.
Yeah.
And that you have siblings named Gareth and Douglas.
Yep.
Okay.
Both misspelled, I might add.
Both misspelled. Okay.
Also, my mother's name is misspelled. So.
Okay. Well, we could go look right into the census and see what it looks like. And let's go by looking here. This means that we can view the record details. And so let's go look at the record details. Now, record details is what shows up if that record has been indexed. And it has been indexed. So this tells us that the head of the family is John Edwin Baird, that the census was taken in 1940, that he was born in 1908 in Brigham, that he's the head of the household, and that this record is a census record. Then further down here, it tells us his wife, and it's going to be the name that's written in the record, Gareth, and my guess is that Gareth's middle name is Mon.
Yes. Maughan, supposed to be. Same way.
Ghan, okay. But the names sound the same. So I am going to feel like that is your family.
Right, yep. And Douglas is also misspelled.
Yes, Douglas. And it says that somebody else is in this record, and it's John Edwin Baird, and that's your dad, the head of the house. Or is it somebody else?
That's probably me in 1940.
Oh, are you John Edwin Baird?
Yes, the second.
Okay, and you were born in 1937.
Right.
And your relationship to the head of the household is Baird. I think that is not the way that I would have expected it to be indexed.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now.
You probably had the Chinese indexing this.
That's what?
You probably have the Chinese indexing this.
Maybe. Now this says over here that I can check whether or not I can look at the page itself by clicking there. And it says to view these images, I have to go to a family history center or an affiliate library. I don't think that that's true, but that's what it's telling me here. Okay, now when we started this search, and we've had to, and that list gave us 1,000 entries to go through. If instead we would have gone to records and filled out this first form, so that we would have said John, Edwin, Baird, and we would have said Brigham, Box Elder, Utah, and that the birth year was 1908. And if we would have gone to more options, and as we went down on more options, if we would have switched type, I need to figure out how to get down to more options. I want the census option. And then I want to go back up here and I want to see if it will let me, let me list the place of residence, because we knew that he was born in Box Elder in 1908, but where do we think they lived in 1940? Let's just say Utah. And for a residence year, let's put 1940, because that's the year of the census. So that's the year that we want to get more specific about. And so now let's do a search and let's compare what we get now with what we got before. Now we're down to 65 entries instead of 1,000. And if you notice this, you notice that most of these here are censuses. And so those are different ways to connect to this census. Now here on this entry, it also gives us a photo, a camera. So if we click on that camera, we're going to get right to the image itself. And as we enlarge this record and look at it, we're going to see the page that the census taker took when he wrote down the Baird family. And so as I go scrolling up, I see Edwin J. Baird. The wife is Elizabeth M. The sons are Garth and John and Douglas. And it also tells us that 5 years ago, they lived in the same house, and that their father's occupation was patrolman for the State Highway Department. And it is also going to give us ages over here. He's still pretty young, 31 and 27. It's also going to tell us about which block they lived in on the street. There's a lot of information if we want to know more about your family that we could find out. And we talked about that 2 weeks ago, I think. So that is how we did the search using records and filling out this top search historical record section. Now let's try the same, looking for the same information by looking under a collection. So we want to find a collection. Let's say that the collection that we're interested in is United States Census. Okay, and when we print up United States Census, it gives us the idea that if we put a comma after that and put the year, that it will tell us a specific collection. We could have gone down through this list, browse all collections, and we could have gone through the thousands of possible records or even the hundreds of possible records for US censuses. But this takes us to the US Census of 1940 that easily. And so that gives us the option now of searching for the US Census. Now, did it take me to the US Censuses? It did when I practiced. It didn't right now.
I think you have to push return.
That's what let's try that. Return, which is also enter, and it didn't do it, Helen. So let's go on to here. Here it gives us, if I scroll down, it's going to give us the date, and I want 1900 to 1940. I'm going to want Utah. Collection title, here we are. This is what we wanted. U.S. Census. Did I need to type 19 United States? I think I need to type here United States Census. Okay. And so it pulled up United States Census 1940. But see, it's got thousands of records. So now it tells me, it gives me a special template just for John Edwin Baird. In Brigham City, Utah, year of his birth, 1906. And I search.
Should be 8.
And it takes me to the same records of John's family. So that then became the second way that I can find the census records on FamilySearch. Now let's try the third way. If I went to search and to records, and I tried searching by place, which is the third way here on this screen, then I need to click on the map. Did you have something to say, John?
Yeah, I was going to say that's also my grandfather is named John, and I had several uncles who are also John. So in that census, there's probably just a lot of those 36 are going to be not only my dad, but a bunch of other people. And that's why it's so important that even when you find the right person, you've got to go through all the other records to see what there might be.
And by doing that, I'm going to find out a whole lot more about your family, aren't I?
Yeah, I think.
Good, very good point. So here I clicked on the map, and I clicked on the map, and I came to something called the Utah Research Place page. And so now it's going to give me pretty much the same form as the historical records one did. I can type in John Edwin Baird. With his residence being in Utah in 1940, and his birthplace being in Utah in 1908. And it gives me the option now to choose census. That's the type I want. I want census. But it says, look, here are 5 other main kinds of records that you're likely to also find him in. And so it says that there are, in this thing, in these other 5 collections, there's the Billion Graves Index, there's the Current Obituary Index, there's a Find a Grave Index, there's a Mormon Migration Database, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Census. And that those are 5 other records that it really suggests that I search. So if I was not teaching a lesson, but trying to find out more about John's family, I would check all of those. But I'm just going to click on the census that's what I want. And here again, John Edwin Baird, born in 1908, is the first one that comes up. So that is 3 very easy ways to search on FamilySearch, and it is the way to access all of those are these 3 parts of the main screen after we click on search. Now, there are a couple of other things that we need to know about searching on FamilySearch, and these are kind of parallel skills. When we search, we also have two other options that we need to know about and use. One is further down on this list called catalog, and the other one is further down on this list called research wiki. So if we look in the catalog, we get a template to do searching in the Family History Library catalog. Now, those of us that are old, like me, remember going to the library in the olden days where there would be a wooden cupboard with the little drawers, and the drawers would hold 4x6 or 5x6 cards. And there would be cards for every single thing in the library, books, movies, whatever else the library had. And we would look through that card catalog to find what we wanted. We would probably, if it was a genealogy library, would probably look under surnames, would probably look for book titles, would probably look for authors, would probably look for subjects, or else would look for keywords. Maybe we specifically want to find the call number of the book. So if we're looking at the Family History Library, we maybe would want to find out what records. Let's try, well, let's go ahead and try Utah. What records does the United States, Utah have? And we can search for that. And instead of having to go to the old wooden cupboard, we instead get online a list of everything, of all the thousands and thousands of things that are in the FamilySearch catalog. And lo and behold, if we go to the United States, Utah, well, actually, we would want United States Box Elder. Utah. Can I go back one? Maybe I can go back two. Now I get the same catalog again. I have to repeat the search. Place is chosen here. So in fact, it automatically comes up place because it thinks more people are going to want to search place than otherwise. And so we're going to search Brigham. And we're going to try to spell it correctly. Box Elder, I know, Utah. And then we're going to go back and correct our spelling. Okay, and so it's telling us United States, so it's got it in the opposite order we put it in. It's got United States, Utah, Box Elder, and Brigham City. And so now we can search. And census is not listed under those. But if we were to go back to and take out Brigham City and just search for United States, Utah, we would be able to see here census records 1940, and then we could go find that census using that method. Now I said that there were two. One was the catalog, the other one was the research wiki. And I guess I have to click the button a little bit harder so I get the wiki. Okay, now the FamilySearch wiki, it calls it here a genealogy resource guide. Some of you who have been to the Family History Center in decades past remember that there's nearly always a spinning file in the Family History Center, big or small, where there were folders or little lessons, and these would be 9.5 by 11, and they would be several pages big, and they would be a little lesson on how to search in different parts of the world, or in different kinds of records. So, and we still have a few of these in our Family History Center. There will be one listed, searching your family in Norway. searching your family in the United States, searching your family in the census, searching for your family in early LDS church records. And you would take that booklet and you would read it to get ideas on how to do research. Well, now that's online and expanded immensely, and it's now called the Research Wiki. Now, to find it, I can either go to the map and click. It wants me to click North America. Then it wants me to click United States. Then it wants me to click Utah. And now it is taking me to a page about Utah. And so this would be similar, but much, much enlarged over what those old folders used to tell us. So in the wiki, it is going to give me all kinds of information. It is going to tell me that I can, it will guide me step by step through Utah research from 1900 to currently, or in Utah from 1950 to 1905, or how to find birth records or marriage records or death records, or how to use research strategies, ways to search. It also would tell me that there are records that the Family History Center doesn't have that are Utah records that are online. And if I click that, it will give me these other availability of these other records that are available. So if I were to search on this site, I would be able to come over to the right-hand side and choose census. And it would tell me all about which censuses are in Utah and how to find them. So it is going to tell me that for the 1940, to find them on FamilySearch, I click here. But it wants to make sure that I also know that in 1990, there was a census taken of all the veterans of the Civil War. Or here's 3 years where it's going to tell me a census taken about everybody that died in a census year. In 1850, there's one telling me who owned slaves. And so those are other censuses that are going to be useful to me. It's also going to tell me about when did Utah take a territorial census, and it's listed here. So I can find out all kinds of things about census records in Utah. In this case, I'm going to want to search for the 1940 census. And so it takes me back to the same form, and we can fill it out just like we did before. So by searching in the wiki, if I didn't know which censuses were available in the United States, I would be able to find that out. By looking in the card catalog, I could find that out. So if I wasn't searching for a census, but I was looking for something else, birth, marriages, and deaths, so many other things, going to the research wiki or to the card catalog are going to help me parallel things in my search. Because we've already been talking about censuses, that wasn't as essential to look at tonight as it would have been if we hadn't already been talking about censuses. But so that's how we do our search in FamilySearch. Now I need to go to Ancestry, and we'll look at the Ancestry page. So we'll find the search button the same as before. And just by clicking on the search button, instead of saying records, it gives us these other options. It can take us straight to census records by clicking there. It could take us to the card catalog by clicking there. We could click on family trees that other people have put on, or we can go to censuses and voter lists. Since we're using censuses and voter lists, censuses for tonight's lesson, we'll click on that. So now again, we have John, Edwin, Baird, and he was born in 1908 in Brigham City. Okay, it gave us a drop-down menu that we can click on instead of having to fill it all out. And if we wanted to be more specific and add family members, we could. Generally speaking, when I start a search, I put in less information and add more information later. Other very good researchers that I know start with more information, and if they don't find what they want, they gradually decrease information. So now I could specify under all collections, I could specify the United States, and that would probably be a sensible thing to do. So here I come up with the same things as I did before, except I did not put in a residence place. So it gives me the option of finding John Baird in the 1920 census, the 1910 census, the 1940 census, 1930, and 1910. And do you notice what popped up each time? All I had to do was click on it, and it pops up with the indexed part. So that quickly I was able to find. Now this says that there's a John Baird that was 2 years old living in Ogden. So I wonder, was your father's name Minnie Baird?
No,
John?
no, that's,
And was Lottie your grandmother?
nope,
Did you say yes or no?
no. Am I mute?
No.
No,
Okay. So that John Baird is not our John Baird's family.
Edwin J. Baird is 1940, that's probably him, and then J. Edwin Baird, so he's apparently listed as John Baird sometimes, and then when he became an adult, his name, everybody called him J. Edwin. So that would be
Okay.
in the 1930 census, well, it's still J. Edwin. If you go back to the 1920 census, it'd be interesting to, yeah, that's him there, and that's our no, that's his family. When he was, that's his father down there, John E. Baird at 52, and Carrie Lee, that's my grandmother. And my
Okay.
so this record is of my dad before he was married.
And it says that his class of worker was an unpaid worker. He was a member of the family in the industry of missionary for the LDS Church.
Right, yeah.
So there are some advantages in looking in Ancestry, in that we see the indexed information. As soon as we click on the title of the record, we see the indexed information. And it gave us the option of 1940, 30, 10, 20, 30, and others for other people who are and are not members of our John's family. But so that was a pretty quick search for Ancestry. All we did was did search and chose that we wanted census and voter lists. Now, if we had chosen all collections and had put in his name, and had added his birth as 1908, and that his birth was in Utah, because see, I said we're putting in less information, but let's put in male, and that we wanted to focus in the United States and do a search. We had how many thousands when we looked on FamilySearch? Here we have 716,000 possibilities. And so now we need to filter it by census and voter records, and then it takes us to the records we had before. So it appears to me that it was easier for us to find censuses for John's family in Ancestry than it was in FamilySearch. Now, something that is interesting is if you don't find what you're looking for, search in the other company. For example, an example might be finding my dad listed as Mary or listed as Mark. And sometimes fill in less information. We said they were in Utah. I looked and looked and looked for my mother in the 1940 census in Colorado because my mother lived all of her life in Colorado, didn't she, Alice? Did our mother live all of her life in Colorado? Until she moved here, in the 1970s? Well, I'm not hearing Alice answer. Interesting.
I was
When I
muted.
look at what, Alice? Oh, you're mute. Okay. Where else did our mother live prior to 1940? Prior to her marriage?
Nevada.
Did she always live in Colorado?
No, she lived in Nevada. She lived in Utah for a little while.
You think she lived in Utah for a little while?
She did.
She was born in 1914 in Colorado. Okay,
She taught school.
she's a
in
female.
Nevada.
I'm searching with Les. I want to search in censuses. Where's the button that I click on for censuses?
At the beginning.
It says narrow down by the 1900 censuses. Oh, it erased everything. I have to put it in again.
You got the featured data collection over to your U.S. federal census.
Well, I can. So John is suggesting I go ahead and click on the census. So now see, I've got it at the top, which is going to help me find her first. Okay, and that auto-populated that for me when I chose her name. It listed the people with a similar name in my file on Ancestry, and it
Puts her in
went
Gunnison.
through and found them a lot. Found a lot of information, more than I really was looking for at that point.
Look at that.
Okay, searching in 1920 census, Montezuma County, Colorado. 1930, Montezuma, Colorado. And maybe I'm not even finding her in 1940.
It showed somebody in Montana there, about the third one down.
Okay.
In Montana.
Yeah, see, that was, she Esther M. Everett. Oh, in Montana. Said she was born in Montana.
Oh, that wouldn't be her.
And so I'm looking for
not
her
a
maiden
M and
name,
she-
which is Weldon.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I don't find her easily there. Let's look for her easily in FamilySearch. And so I need to go back to the main search button. Records. And I'm going to go ahead and put her here. Esther Weldon. Born in Colorado. The census isn't going to list where in Colorado. It's just going to list the state. More options. Residents. Oh, I'm going to leave that out. But I am going to come on down. If I can figure out how to scroll. I want census records. And I'm going to search. And I'm going to find the 1940 census for an Esther Wilden. And it has a photo, so I'm going to look at that. Yes, it says she was born in 1916 in Colorado. And in 1940, she lived in Honeyville, Box Elder County, Utah.
Hey, she probably knew.
So I'm going to look at that census,
Where's
and I'm
Hun-
going to have to enlarge it a bit. And here is Esther Wilden. She's a lodger with this family. 5 years before this, she lived in Gunnison, Colorado. She went to school in Gunnison, Colorado. She was studying to be a school teacher. And so here she is in 1940 in Honeyville, Utah, as a school teacher in the public school.
Ah,
So my mother did not live in Colorado all of her life. She did a few semesters at Brigham Young University, and after that, she got a job teaching in Honeyville, Utah.
yeah, and who'd she marry? What?
Oh, do you want the marriage story?
Well, no, but that George A. Hunsaker that she's right next to, I'm related to him.
Oh, are you? My goodness. So my mother lived next door to your relative.
Yeah, all the Hunsakers.
Well, I am not sure who my mother's bishop was in Honeyville, but one day he called her into his office and he said, "How come you never get married? You date a lot, but you never get married. How come?" And she said, "Mark Everett from back home is the only person I have ever known that I think I could be happy married to." And they talked quite a while, and the bishop said, "Even though he's not a member of the church, I promise you that if you marry him, you'll never regret it."
Holy cow.
So in those days, women were not socially accepted to be as forward as they are today. But when my mother went home for Christmas and my dad went home for Christmas, as they always did, they went out. And as they were sitting in the car talking, and the car window was all steamed up, my mother wrote in the steamed up window, "Mrs. Mark Everett." And my dad took that as a hint and asked her to marry him. And that's the romance story of my parents in brief. So
Interesting.
that's the story. We could do a search and we could do records and choose that we wanted marriage records. And probably to find marriage records, we would probably want to choose the collection. We'd probably look either into the place or the collection and look straight for Montezuma County marriage records to find a copy of their marriage. As I was playing around, getting ready for this lesson, I found something I had never found before. I found my mother's parents listed, the year of their marriage as members of the Presbyterian Church of Cortez, Colorado. And so I think when they got married, my grandmother chose that she wanted to get married in the Presbyterian Church. And so that's where they got married. My grandfather at that time was not an active member of the church, even though his ancestors had been. Anything else that you're interested in looking at? Just because, if nobody says anything, I'm going to do a search for an author in
Ma'am,
the card catalog and see what we find.
Look for the Covey, for Elijah Covey,
Look for what? Elijah Covey?
except for I don't remember the date.
So here was a quick author look. Alice, I think that we could take your covies and look for them strategically by date, and we would be able to find them. John gave me his information before the beginning of the class. So I was ready to look those up, but we certainly could do that. Any questions about how we search tonight?
Hey, Nancy, this is Julie Young.
Yes.
I'm that name without a face. I don't know how to put
Okay.
my face there. And by the way, we served as missionaries in your ward in 2018. And so I have the email, and I've been wanting to join the class ever since I saw it. So is that
I'm glad that you did.
Well, thank you. Maybe you've covered this, but how do you go so quickly from FamilySearch to Ancestry, back and forth like
Okay.
you do?
Okay, I'm going to share my screen again.
Okay. I don't want to make everybody wait, but I just wondered.
Well, I think other people might have the same question.
Okay.
Okay, one day when I was in FamilySearch, I came up to this little star up here, this little blue star up in the corner, and I clicked on it,
Let's
and
see.
it said, do you want to make a bookmark? And do you want it in the bookmarks bar? And I said, done. And when I did that, then this place right here is called the bookmark bar. It's not too
okay.
far from the top. And
Okay.
so that means that every time I open up Chrome, I see that bookmark bar. Okay.
Yeah.
And then another day, I did the same with Ancestry. I looked up Ancestry and I clicked the star. And that gave me the word Ancestry here. Now, I'm gonna erase a couple of the tabs that I had open tonight.
Did you see
When
Dorothy
you open
Mill
up
on there?
Chrome, you get
Tabs.
this. You get a choice, and you can choose Ancestry. Now,
Oh.
if I choose FamilySearch, it's going to erase Ancestry. So I have to go over here where there's another plus sign, and I click on it, and then I click on Ancestry, and now I have FamilySearch open and Ancestry open at the same time.
Oh,
So
that
when I
is
want to
so
look
cool.
in FamilySearch, I click on it. When I want to look in Ancestry, I click on it.
Oh, that is so smart.
Now there's something else I can even do. When I'm just on general ancestry, I'm here, but if I go back and click on this tab for my mother, then I can go back and forth between those two tabs.
Okay. See up here, I'll tell you about
So that way I could go back and forth easily.
Oh, that's really
Now,
smart.
what if I also want to read my email at the same time?
Uh-huh.
If I open up my email, it's not in
A tab.
I don't have a tab for it because I don't read my email by going to Chrome. But if I hit the Alt key and the Tab key at the same time, I go back and forth.
Oh. Okay. Alt and tab.
So those are handy
Tips.
handy tricks for researching.
Show her how to
And
split the screen.
one reason that's good to know that is that we just are learning that if we just use Ancestry or just use FamilySearch, we miss a lot of stuff.
Oh, smart.
So being able to go back and forth helps. Now I'm going to teach one more thing. When I open up my screen to watch this movie, to watch Zoom, on the bottom left, there is a picture of a microphone, and under it says mute, and there's a picture of a camera. And if I click on the camera,
Yeah.
then I show up with my picture on the screen. If I click stop video, then I'm not going to show on the screen anymore.
Oh.
But if I click start video, then my name shows up again. Sometimes people just don't want their picture showing.
So if I wanted
Like
to,
they might say, "Oh, I didn't comb my hair yet."
If I wanted to say hi with my picture, how would I get it on right now?
You would go down and you would click on where it says video on the bottom left.
Okay, mine
It's
just
gonna
says
say-
start video. Start
It says
video?
start,
Uh-huh,
click on start video.
okay.
Now, does your computer have an automatic camera?
Yeah, it does. Okay. Oh, allow to access my camera, it says. Okay,
Okay. And
there we
then
go.
click on that.
okay. Now I'd probably go find my camera there. I think that was it. No?
No,
Oh, wait, maybe. It says,
Mine doesn't give me that prompt, so I can't walk you through that.
maybe because it's a Mac, I don't know.
Okay.
Not. the
Or
Zoom
because you have
US.
more privacy settings than I have.
Oh, it says privacy. Should I unclick privacy? Or no, maybe that says, maybe these are all privacy.
Why don't you stick around after the prayer and we'll keep trying?
It's okay. Usually it gives you that option at the first, right? And it didn't. So anyway.
Mine just automatically turns on the camera. See, so I don't
Okay.
have privacy settings. Now there are privacy settings down here. No, there's security settings down here at the bottom, but that's things like who can share their screen and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Nancy,
Okay.
Yes, John.
Thank you.
can I suggest that you quickly show her how to split the screen also?
Split the screen.
Oh, I have not mastered that yet, John.
Neither have I.
And I had my sons keep trying to teach me, but I still have trouble with that. Okay, so John, tell me what to do.
That's why
I'm going to turn off everything except the two sites that I want.
that's
If
why-
I am doing work on both FamilySearch and Ancestry at the same time, sometimes I want to see both screens at the same time. So what do I do, John?
that's why I asked you to show
I
us.
can tell you. I can
Okay,
tell you.
Karen, tell us.
So you'll minimize your screen so that it's not full screen. So the screen will be a little bit smaller. You don't want it minimized all the way down. You want it just so that it's smaller. So you click the little square in the corner, up in the corner that, there you go.
It looks like
So
pages.
then-
Okay.
You click on you click on the tab that you want to split off. So yeah, go ahead and you hold it and you slide it all the way over to so that it's off the screen and it will
That's as
split it.
far as it's going.
There you
Okay.
go. Did that work?
It half worked.
Well, that's essentially what you do. So you make it so that it's not in full screen, but it's in that kind of smaller screen. And then you pull the one over that you want to separate off.
Now it worked.
Yeah. Did that make
Well,
sense?
It's showing 1/4 of my it's showing 1/4 of my desktop.
So then you
Can everybody
enlarge
see that now?
one. If you put your cursor down at the very bottom edge of that, yes, then you can pull it down and it will enlarge it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you see the advantage of this? If I am looking on FamilySearch, which is on at this point in time, my left-hand side and Ancestry is on my right-hand side. If I have Esther Everett opened up in both, I can see two things at once. Now, sometimes you're going to want the full screen because you're going to want to be able to see more clearly. You're going to want it larger, especially, if you have to enlarge something anyway. Another time when you might want to use this is if you keep a separate database. And I use Ancestral Quest. So I might want to look at Ancestral Quest at the same time as I'm looking up all the John Bairds, so I can keep track of which John Baird is which John Baird. Now, as I have this set up, it reminds me of something. Roots Tech is in March. You can already register. This year it's going to be online and free. I think it's March 6th and nearby. And they've already chosen one of their keynote speakers. And he is a boxer from Africa. And he sounds like a very interesting man. I bet his keynote speech at Roots Tech is going to be very interesting. So keep in touch. Go ahead and go on to Roots Tech 2022 Connect and register. Okay, Helen, can you tell us what our activity for February is for the Provo South Freedom Family History Center? Do you have that calendar, Helen?
Listen to what she's going to say right now.
John, do you have it?
No, when I tried to go find it, I had to
That's,
quit exit you guys.
I had it printed out and then I gave it to somebody. So I need to find my email and print it out again. But every month this year, we are having a Saturday morning activity. Many of the months, most of the months, it's going to be on indexing or censuses. And we are going to try to have a either a contest or at least a role taking at each of those activities so that we can give a prize at the end of the year, and the prizes are Ancestry DNA kits.
Oh,
We're
wow.
going to give 2 of those.
Okay.
So come to our activities.
I have the calendar. Me.
You have it. Oh,
I do.
good, Michelle.
Okay, so according to the email that I got from Diane, the next one is the 19th of February. It's a smaller event with indexing, and it's a find a relative party.
Find a relative party. Okay. And we will tell you more in the weeks between now and then what we're going to do at this Find a Relative party. But it will be at the Freedom Stake Center, which is on roughly 500 West and 900 South. And it will be in the Cultural Hall, and we'll try to have tables set far enough apart that nobody's worried about social distancing.
What time did you say on the 19th?
What time?
Michelle's looking, I'm thinking it's 9.
It is, they're from 9 to 11, it says, these workshops.
Diane believes in food. So I'm sure that we will have snacks, maybe not a full breakfast, but we'll have snacks. Would any of those of you that are here tonight that I don't know like to take a minute and introduce yourself so I know who you are? Julie, whose picture we still don't see.
I lost everything. I can hear your voice. I don't know where all the pictures are. I was trying to.
Okay.
But we are Brigham and Julie Young, and we served in the Provo Second Ward on a mission. And so we've stayed in touch. And I just, the representative from that ward, I emailed her one day and she said, sure, you can watch our meetings. So that's why we're here.
You certainly can.
Well,
you certainly
thank you.
can. And we're glad you're here.
Thanks. It's really good.
Come to our Saturday activity as well. You're welcome.
Well, thank you. You did a really good job today.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm from the Provo 5th Ward. We've just we've lived in the ward for almost a year. It'll be a year in March. And I've done family history for many years, and but I'm just kind of doing this as a refresher and to keep on the pulse. So I actually don't even know where the Family History Center is for our stake? Is it at the stake center?
It's at the Stake Center on the
Okay.
east end.
Okay,
And we have a sign by the outside door.
okay. What are the hours usually?
Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Sunday afternoon.
Okay,
I hope that we have our hours on our Facebook page, and the Facebook page is Provo South Freedom Family History Center.
okay,
And the reason it's such a long name is because it used to be the Provo South Stake Family History Center. And the Freedom Stake was one of the stakes that went to it. And now it is the Freedom Stake Family History Center. And the Provo South Stake is one of the stakes that goes to it. So our Facebook page title is Provo South Freedom Family History Center. And we're glad to have you. I hope that even though it's a refresh, that it still makes you think of somebody that comes often, and I forget who it was. Maybe it was Michelle, maybe not, that told me last week. They said that something that had happened in the lesson made them, no, it was Pam Mo maybe. Anyway, they'd looked up their great grandparents in the census and had found something they didn't expect and had learned something new. So I hope that happens now and again. Plus, we like to know who people are that are interested in family history, because sometimes we need more people around
oh, well,
that can help us.
call me anytime. I'd be happy to help.
Our hours during the week are mostly 7 to 9 p.m.
Okay,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There's always somebody there. And the Sunday hours, somebody's almost there every day on Sundays.
okay,
I think we start at 2, pretty much 2 to 8.
Yeah, I think the schedule.
I think if we had more people that wanted to work Sunday, we would for sure be open from 2 to 8 on Sunday. Now we have Spanish speaking. We have Spanish speaking staff members on Thursday and on. Oh, David's got the printout of our hours. So Thursday evening and Sunday evening, we have Spanish speaking staff. That does not mean that English speaking people can't come. And Sister Tapia is.
Did you see that?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of how we can get it so that it's enlarged.
Well, just tell us what it says.
Okay, I'll read it. Monday. Sunday 4 to 8. Monday 10 to 2. Right now it's just 10 to 12. Tuesday 7 to 9. Wednesday either 7 to 9. Thursday either 6 to 8 or 7 to 9. Friday 7 to 9.
I thought that would bring me back in.
And
close Saturday.
If people need,
And no Saturday.
and if people want to
But then we have our once a month this year on Saturdays, we're having some kind of an activity or a class on the Saturday morning. Jo Marie and Elizabeth Kelly. Do you want to take a minute and introduce yourselves?
Next time.
If you don't want to, stay muted. Angel Metzger, she's muted. Angel, I don't know if Diana's told you that she just found books on your I forget what they're called. Russian families that moved to Kansas. She's found books and books, pages and pages and pages, listing family by family that moved to Kansas.
Yeah, the Volga Germans.
Volga Germans, yes.
Yeah. She came and brought a flash drive over today, and I've been looking at them. and I haven't made a match. But she's more of an
Oh.
expert than I am.
Well, yeah, I hope that between you, you do. She was so excited to find that book for you.
Oh, I was excited too. Ian helped me find the immigration record when they came over in 1907. He found some of the family, and so then we attached it to FamilySearch for them today also.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay, that's a good beginning.
Yeah.
Great. Karen, would you please say our closing prayer? Can you do that with no advance notice?
Certainly, that's fine.
Thank you.